Do you want to sleep? Then listen to me. Turn off the lights, close the windows, now close them and listen to you. Finally, I will make a request to you. Put down your phone and listen to my voice. Listen clearly. I will now tell you a story that will make you sleepy. Close your eyes and listen carefully to my words.
For centuries, the Vatican's secret archive has been the beating heart of a mystery so large, so meticulously protected, that even whispering about it could end a career or a life. Officially, the Archivum Secretanum Vaticanum is simply a repository of historical documents, a collection of papal correspondences and diplomatic letters stretching back over 1,000 years. Unofficially, it is a fortress of forbidden history, a labyrinth of sealed chambers that no scholar, no journalist, and no priest is allowed to enter without layers of authorization stamped in silence. And yet, in the winter of 2024, a digital key appeared online. It wasn't a file, it wasn't a photograph, it was a sequence, 46 characters in length, posted anonymously on an obscure historical forum at 3:17 a.m. The user's name was Auctor Noctis, the author of the night. The string at first looked like gibberish, but within minutes, archivists, cryptographers, and Vatican security analysts realized it wasn't random at all. It was a catalog reference code, the kind used inside the Vatican for materials so restricted that even cardinals require permission to view them. And the code pointed to a vault that officially does not exist. Vault Delta 17, a chamber rumored among archivists to house documents locked away since the earliest days of the Roman Church, records predating the papacy itself. The leak began with a single page. The document uploaded anonymously that same night was a scan of an ancient parchment, edges burned, ink faded. Across its center was a Latin title that shouldn't have existed: Memoriae Imperii Occulti, the Chronicles of the Hidden Empire. It was dated 343 AD, just 10 years after Constantine's death, and the handwriting, the looping, deliberate script, matched that of Lactantius, the Roman tutor and advisor to the first Christian emperor. Historians were stunned. Lactantius was known to have written biographies and moral treatises, but this document was nothing like his official works. It spoke of something darker, something erased from Roman history long before the fall of the empire. The text described a council, one never mentioned in any surviving chronicle: De Concilio Sanguinis, the Council of Blood. According to the fragment, after Constantine's death, a secret gathering of Roman elites and early Christian authorities met in Ravenna under the protection of the imperial guard. Their purpose? Not worship, not doctrine, not political negotiation, but the destruction of texts and testimonies that contradicted the empire's new version of history. In chilling detail, the parchment listed categories of material ordered for eradication: records of pre-Christian mystery cults, early Christian sects now declared heretical, documents describing conflicting versions of the life of Jesus, alternative creation myths preserved by Roman scholars, writings about ancient civilizations predating Rome by millennia. And then came the most disturbing line of all: Et quid narratum est de rege tenebrarum qui ante urbem regnavit. And whatever has been told of the King of Shadows who ruled before the founding of the city. Historians froze. This phrase, King of Shadows, had appeared only twice in Roman literature, both times in texts considered mythological. But this was official. an imperial decree acknowledging an erased ruler predating Rome's first king, Romulus. It suggested that Rome had inherited not a blank land, but a civilization whose memory had been deliberately obliterated. Within hours, the Vatican denied everything. They insisted the document was an internet fabrication, a malicious hoax, a modern forgery. But the denial came too quickly, within 26 minutes, before scholars could even verify or challenge the authenticity. Suspicious, too precise, too fearful. Meanwhile, the original post by Auctor Noctis vanished, replaced by a message: "This is only one page, the rest is coming." Inside the Vatican, alarms began to ring. Monitors locked, servers isolated, access to archive rooms suspended indefinitely. A confidential alert, leaked days later, revealed the Vatican feared not only further documents, but that someone with inside knowledge was releasing them. Someone who had walked the sealed corridors, someone who had held forbidden manuscripts in their hands, someone who knew which version of history the Church had protected for nearly 2,000 years. The world had no idea what was coming next, but everything from Alexandria to Pergamum to the Buddhist monasteries, from the Maya codices to the Gnostic texts, had been leading to this moment, to the one archive powerful enough to bury the memory of an entire civilization. And if the leak was real, then the darkest secrets of Rome were no longer safe behind Vatican walls. They were waking.
For 3 days, the Vatican denied everything. They denied the breach. They denied the missing archivist. They denied the existence of Tabularium Tenebris, the rumored shadow archive beneath the official one. But denial collapses quickly when the truth begins to leak. It started with one photograph, a grainy image posted to an encrypted forum at 2:17 a.m. Rome time. A wooden chest, no larger than a suitcase, sealed with 3 iron latches and a wax emblem, a 2-headed phoenix wrapped in chains. The caption under the image was only 4 words: "It's finally opened." Within minutes, the photo spread through private channels, investigative discords, darknet boards, journalists' inboxes. The Vatican had it removed almost everywhere, except the internet never forgets fast enough. By sunrise, rumors had exploded. The chest was from the reign of Emperor Constantine. It contained the earliest banned Gospels. It held a prophecy sealed by the Council of Nicaea. It was a Roman death list of people who knew too much. But the truth was stranger than all of them. The archivist who vanished. The man in the leaked photo, seen only from the side, was identified within hours by former Vatican employees. Brother Matteo Lorenz, a quiet, bookish priest, a linguist fluent in Latin, Aramaic, Old Greek, and something he never officially studied, Etruscan, Rome's mother tongue. 3 days earlier, he had signed into the archives and never signed out. Security footage of his departure was missing, a camera malfunction, officials claimed, but insiders whispered that Matteo had stumbled onto something he was never supposed to find. His coworker said he had become paranoid in the week before he vanished, repeatedly muttering, "Not everything Rome buried stayed dead." The Forbidden Room. Every archivist knew about the official vaults, scripture, papal letters, Inquisition records, diplomatic secrets, but Matteo had found a door that should not exist, a rusted iron archway behind shelves of 16th century ledgers. The keyhole was ancient, Roman. He had shown it to another priest, Brother Angelo, whispering, "This room was sealed before the Vatican even existed." Angelo laughed at him then, but 3 days later, after the photo leak, Angelo stopped laughing. He went to investigate the shelves, only to find the space empty, the archway gone, smooth wall where stone used to be, as if the door had never been there at all. Angelo went pale and refused to talk afterward, but one sentence slipped from him to a journalist in a moment of panic. The room moves. Inside the chest. The leaked photo showed the box open, but its contents were hidden in the shadows, except for one object, partly visible at the bottom right corner. A parchment, blackened around the edges, text written in a script no one recognized. Not Latin, not Greek, not Hebrew, not Coptic. Some linguists now believe it was Etruscan, but altered, curved, irregular, as if rewritten by someone who didn't fully understand it. There was only one word the internet agreed on, enhanced from higher resolution versions of the leak: V-E-O. Veo. Veii, the ancient enemy of early Rome, a civilization Rome wiped out so completely that its gods, its temples, its language, all supposedly vanished. But why would a Roman-era sealed chest contain a document written in the tongue of Rome's greatest erased rival? And why had the Vatican hidden it for centuries? The Vatican's first mistake. By noon, the Holy See released a short, cold statement. The photograph is fabricated. No such object exists. But this denial would become their first fatal error, because 2 hours later, a second leak dropped. A video filmed in the same forbidden room showing the chest being lifted from a stone pedestal carved with a symbol no historian had ever seen. A circle. Inside it, a serpent eating its own tail. Inside that, a human eye. The caption on the video:
The video changed everything. It was only 32 seconds long, shaky, filmed by someone who kept glancing over their shoulder as though expecting to be caught at any moment. But the final frame, the one the Vatican tried hardest to erase, became the spark that ignited a firestorm. The chest was no longer the mystery. The pedestal beneath it was. The symbol no Roman should have carved. Historians examined the leaked footage frame by frame. On the pedestal was a circular emblem, 3 layers, a ring of jagged rays carved like a sun breaking apart, a serpent devouring its own tail but with a human spine instead of scales, an eye at the center staring upward as if waiting. The symbol was not Roman, not Christian, not Etruscan. It belonged to nothing known, and yet it felt familiar, as if it were echoing a language older than the empires that swallowed the Mediterranean. Dr. Helena Voss, a symbologist from Vienna, made a chilling observation during a live interview. The outer ring is not a sun, it is a broken halo. This is not iconography of worship, it is iconography of punishment. That single sentence sent social media into chaos. What was Rome punishing, and why bury the evidence beneath the world's most guarded archive? Entry number 14, Matteo's hidden journal. The next leak was not a photo this time, it was text, pages from a journal. Matteo's journal, and it proved one thing: his disappearance was not voluntary. The entries were fragmented, like he was writing while hiding. The handwriting tightened with each page. Entry 14, translated. The door was where no door should be. I heard something behind it, like breathing, but not human. I do not know if I opened it or if it opened itself. Entry 18. The writing inside the chest is older than Etruscan. I fear it is not a language at all, but an imitation of one, created by something observing us, trying to speak as we do. Entry 21. I showed the parchment to Angelo. He begged me to burn it. I cannot. It watches me when it is dark. Entry 23, last. They are coming for the box, not to study it, to return it. Matteo never wrote again. The Vatican's emergency lockdown. On the 4th day after the leak, the Vatican enacted Protocol Luna Nera,
a classified emergency procedure only used twice in modern history. The Swiss Guard removed tourists, doors were barred, lights went dark. Then something stranger. Every electronic device was jammed, not for security, because officials feared the room would move again. Several archivists were escorted out pale and shaking. One, a woman in her 60s, whispered to reporters before she was silenced. The map changed. The staircase isn't where it was. Rooms are rearranging themselves. When asked why, she only said, "Because the box is awake now." The sound beneath the floors. That night, residents near Vatican City reported a deep, rhythmic pulse, like a heartbeat coming from underground. Seismologists checked for earthquakes. There were none. The vibrations matched a pattern Matteo described in entry 15. 4 beats, pause, 4 beats, pause, as if it is knocking. Some believed it was machinery, others believed it was a warning. But the priests closest to the archives believed something far worse. It was a memory, something ancient, trapped beneath Rome for millennia, finally stirring. The one frame everyone missed. 29 seconds into the leaked video, the camera tilts, almost by accident, toward the far corner of the forbidden room. There, illuminated by a single flicker of light, stood another pedestal, empty except for dust marks shaped like clawed fingers, as if something had once sat upon it, as if there were 2 objects meant to be sealed, and only one had been found. The other was missing. The chapter ends with the final line of Matteo's recovered note, found scribbled on a torn scrap of parchment in the forbidden room.
The Vatican could suppress the first video. They could silence the archivists, erase the forum posts, deny every rumor. But they could not contain the second leak, because this one didn't come from a hacker, or a whistleblower, or a journalist. It came from a seismic lab 160 kilometers away. The pattern beneath Rome. 2 scientists from the University of L'Aquila published a dataset showing an impossible reading: rhythmic subterranean pulses, exactly matching the beat pattern described in Matteo's journal, originating directly beneath Vatican City. A pulse, a pause, a pulse, a pause, at a perfect interval of 4.2 seconds. Dr. Emilio Rovetti, the lead researcher, wrote one chilling line in his initial report. "This is not tectonic activity, it is structured communication." Within hours, Vatican officials arrived at the university, confiscated equipment, and issued gag orders. But they were too late. The data had already spread. The world now knew. Something beneath the Vatican was knocking, and whatever it was waking up. The empty pedestal. While scientists argued, digital forensics teams obsessed over a single frame from the first leaked video. The moment the camera swung toward the corner of the forbidden room. There, coated in dust, was the outline of an object roughly the same size as the sealed chest, but elongated, as if shaped to hold something not square, but serpentine. A vessel, a cocoon, a container, but empty. A Roman scholar from Cambridge made a terrifying connection. The symbol engraved on the filled pedestal, the serpent, the broken halo, the eye, had once been referenced in a destroyed 11th century manuscript describing a myth from conquered Etruria. Oculus Vei, the eye of Vei, a guardian, or a prisoner. Legend claimed it watched beneath the earth, waiting for its pair, if the chest was one half, where was the other? The nun who broke her silence. Sister Alda Marconi had served in the archives for 42 years. She had never spoken to press, never violated her vows. Until now. She contacted a journalist anonymously using a voice distorter and delivered a message. There were always two relics. The clergy called them custodes, the keepers. One was a record, the other was not. She refused to say more, but she did reveal one detail. The second relic was removed from the Vatican in the late 1800s under orders from Pope Leo XIII and hidden far from Italy. When asked why, she answered, "Because Rome feared what it contained." The map Matteo left behind. For weeks, investigators believed Matteo's scribbled notes were fragments of panic or paranoia. But one diagram finally made sense, a crude map of Europe with a single star drawn near the top edge. No labels, no explanation, only a short line of text. The keeper of breath lies where the sea freezes. Historians recognize the phrase immediately. It appeared in a rare manuscript describing Rome's earliest northern expeditions. The location was unmistakable, the Arctic Circle, somewhere along the coast of Norway, 1,000 kilometers from Rome, a world away from the Vatican. Why had the church hidden a relic there, and why was the chest waking now? The Vatican's most dangerous secret. By the end of the week, satellite anomalies began appearing, thermal disturbances deep under the Vatican, as if the ground itself was heating, expanding, shifting. At 2:01 a.m., an audio recording leaked from a maintenance shaft microphone inside the archives. It lasted only 6 seconds, but those 6 seconds shook the internet. A deep, low exhale, like air forced through giant lungs, followed by a scraping sound, stone grinding against stone, and then a voice, faint, barely a whisper beneath the static. The second must return. Experts insisted the voice was a distortion. The Vatican insisted it was fake, but Matteo had written the same words in entry number 19, weeks before he vanished. It is not asleep. It is incomplete. The final message. That night, a third and final message from the anonymous nun surfaced. The text was only one sentence long. If they reunite the vessels, Rome will fall as Veii once fell. And suddenly, everything made sense. Rome had not destroyed Veii. It had survived Veii, barely. What the Romans found there, whatever they sealed, was strong enough to erase a civilization. So Rome built the Vatican Archives over its prison. But the prison was awakening, and one half of the ancient force was missing, hidden in the frozen north, waiting.
While Rome spiraled into secrecy and panic, the world's attention shifted north, toward the place Matteo's final map pointed to. A lonely stretch of coastline above the Arctic Circle, a land where the sun vanished for months, a place the Vatican had never admitted visiting. But someone had been there. Someone had built something. The Black Monastery. The first clue surfaced from an unexpected source, a retired Norwegian Coast Guard officer named Henrik Dahl. He released a single photograph taken in 1983, a dark stone structure half buried in snow, perched on a cliff overlooking the Barents Sea. No windows,
no doors visible, only a single iron symbol above the entrance. A serpent eating its tail, the same one on the Vatican pedestal. Henrik's caption was simple: "This wasn't built by Norwegians." He claimed his patrol had been ordered to escort a sealed Vatican cargo crate to the site, but forbidden to enter. The soldiers who delivered the crate wore no insignia, spoke in Latin, and carried weapons he'd never seen before. When he asked what the building was for, one replied, "A place for what cannot remain in Rome." Henrik resigned 2 years later, claiming he had seen something that stares back. The baptism of ice. Journalists scouring satellite imagery made a shocking discovery. The building Henrik photographed was just the surface. Beneath it, thermal scans showed a vast underground structure, long corridors cut into ancient bedrock, radiating outward like the spokes of a wheel. One chamber in particular emitted unusual heat signatures, far too warm for the Arctic. It matched Matteo's sketch labeled "The Chamber of Breath." But there was more. The scans showed a second signature, a small cylindrical container in the deepest vault, roughly the size and shape of the missing vessel. The second half of the pair, the Keeper, hidden for over a century and no longer dormant. The breathing ice. On January 16th, a Norwegian scientific team traveling near the abandoned site reported hearing a strange phenomenon. The ice, breathing. They described slow, rhythmic expansions in the permafrost, like the ground inhaling and exhaling. The pattern matched the subterranean pulses in Rome exactly. 4 beats, pause, 4 beats, pause. As if the two relics, thousands of kilometers apart, were calling to each other, trying to reunite, trying to wake. A scientist captured a 9-second audio clip before evacuating. The sound was subtle at first, low, distant, like wind far underground. But then came a deeper resonance, a rumble, a vibration, and finally, something impossible. A second heartbeat joining the first, synchronized, perfectly timed. For the first time in nearly 2,000 years, the two vessels were breathing together. The Vatican Dispatch. That same night, a private Vatican flight landed in Norway under the radar. Witnesses reported black uniformed soldiers unloading equipment and descending into the snow-covered monastery. One observer saw a cardinal among them. Another saw something worse, a crate identical to the one in the first leaked video. The chest, the one removed from Rome. They were trying to bring the relics together, despite Matteo's warning, despite the nun's message, despite they. Reporters scrambled to understand why, until an anonymous Vatican source provided the answer. Because they can't contain it anymore. They believe only reunion will stop it. Stop what? No one could say, or no one would. The turning wind. As the soldiers descended into the frozen monastery, the wind shifted. Locals described a sudden unnatural warmth spreading through the air, fog rising off the ice, snow melting in spirals across the ground. One fisherman watching from a distance said, "It was like the earth opened its eye." Minutes later, every compass in the region spun wildly. GPS failed, communications died, and then the power went out across the entire northern coastline. The blackout lasted 29 minutes. When the lights came back, the monastery entrance was gone, vanished, replaced by smooth glass-like ice, as if the building had been swallowed whole. The last transmission. One final message escaped before the blackout completely consumed the region. A radio transmission from a member of the Vatican unit inside the monastery. Static, shouting, metal groaning, then a voice. "It's not a relic, it's a witness. The keeper is a witness." A pause, a scream, a sound like stone cracking, and then it remembers what Rome did. The transmission cut. No one inside the monastery was heard from again. The Vatican quickly issued a statement denying any involvement in Norway, but it didn't matter. The world had already heard the last line of the soldier's recording, a whisper drowned in static, but unmistakable.
For 2 days, the world tried to make sense of what had happened in Norway. Governments denied involvement. Scientists blamed magnetic anomalies. The Vatican insisted nothing existed north of Oslo except nature. But the truth refused to stay quiet, because while the North froze in fear, Rome began to change, not metaphorically, not politically, physically. The first tremor. At 3:14 a.m., the seismograph at Sapienza University registered a tremor beneath Vatican City, small but unnatural. There was no quake, no tectonic shift, no explosion. The ground didn't shake, it shivered. A vibration like something alive moving far below. Tourists sleeping in hotels near St. Peter's Square woke to glasses rattling, beds humming, a strange resonance rising through the floorboards. Some described it as a hum. Others said it sounded like someone whispering through the walls. The pattern was unmistakable. 4 beats, pause. 4 beats, pause. The pulse of the relic, the pulse of the northern keeper, now synchronized, now calling each other. Across the world, 2 ancient hearts beat as one. The spiral in the sky. At 4:05 a.m., a helicopter patrol above Rome captured footage of something terrifying above the Vatican dome, a swirling vortex of mist. Not fog. Fog moves with wind. This moved with precision, a spiral tightening, a funnel of cold air descending directly over the location of the archives. At its center was a thin shaft of light, not bright, but black, a darkness so dense it reflected inside itself, like a hole punched into the world. It hovered, waiting, breathing. The pilot's radio captured a single utterance as the crew stared in disbelief. That thing isn't forming, it's opening. And then their equipment failed, cameras died, audio cut. The helicopter landed emergency style at Ciampino Airport, its instruments fried from inside. But not before one frame survived, a blurry image of the vortex revealing something inside it. An eye, open, watching. The eye of Ve. Inside the Vatican Archives, chaos erupted. Archivists barricaded the doors, but walls began shifting, corridors sliding like puzzle pieces, staircases twisting into new shapes. The forbidden room that had vanished reappeared 2 floors higher. A guard who escaped before the lockdown later testified. The rooms were rearranging themselves, like the building was trying to reassemble a memory. Footage from a fallen guard's body cam leaked for 8 minutes before being scrubbed globally. In the video, dust falls from the ceiling like ash. Shelves of manuscripts slide across the floor unaided. A low groan echoes through the halls, stone vibrating like a throat preparing to speak. Then the camera catches something impossible, a door opening by itself. Beyond it, a staircase descending into pure black, not built by human hands, not carved, grown, alive. As the guard approaches, a voice whispers, return it. The feed cuts. The Pope disappears. The next morning, the Vatican released a bizarre, stiff announcement. The Holy Father is in prayerful seclusion, but insiders quickly leaked the truth. The Pope was missing. He had not been seen since the first tremor. His apartment was untouched. His staff was silent. His security detail was gone. Every theory spread at once. He had fled Rome. He had been taken underground. He was trying to stop the relic's awakening. He was trapped inside the moving archive. Then the Vatican denied all rumors, which only confirmed them. The whispering dust. As investigators approached the sealed Vatican walls, strange phenomena began occurring around St. Peter's Square. Dust and pollen swirled into patterns, not random spirals, not wind formations. Symbols, hundreds of them, the same curved ancient script found on the parchment in the first leaked photo. The same symbols Matteo claimed were not a language, but something trying to become one. Tourists fled in panic. Priests knelt and prayed. Researchers recorded the dust movements for analysis. AI-enhanced reconstruction of one swirling symbol produced a haunting message. We remember they. Another held a deeper warning. Rome must return what it stole. The cracking basilica. At 6:22 p.m., the ground beneath St. Peter's Basilica cracked, a long, jagged fissure splitting the marble from the central nave all the way to the altar. Smoke, cold, pale, almost liquid, rose from the crack. Witnesses heard voices echoing upward, crying, whispering, chanting in a language no one recognized. Some fainted, some screamed, some stood and listened, unable to move. One tourist caught the last audible phrase on her phone before security confiscated it. The keeper is coming home. The final seal breaks. Inside the archives, in the forbidden room, a final event occurred, one recorded accidentally by a security camera before power failed forever. The ancient Roman chest, the first vessel, began to open on its own. The iron clasps unlatched. The lid shook as if breathing. Dust exploded outward in slow-motion ripples, and then a single shard of black stone rose from inside, weightless, spinning, glowing with faint red veins like it contained molten memory. The forbidden room's walls contracted inward, stone bending like muscle, and a voice massive, echoing, layered with thousands of tones filled the chamber. One is home. Bring the other. The camera melted. The Vatican went dark, and across Europe, every seismic station from Oslo to Sicily registered the same catastrophic spike, a single deafening heartbeat, stronger than all the ones before. The awakening had begun.
For 48 hours, silence ruled the Arctic. The monastery that had swallowed the Vatican task force remained buried beneath a shell of glass-like ice. Satellites saw no movement, no heat signatures, no sound. But on the third night, the ice cracked, not from above, from beneath. The pulse under the snow. At 2:19 a.m., seismic sensors positioned across northern Norway picked up the strongest pulse yet, a perfect echo of the one beneath Rome, a call-and-response heartbeat. Then the ground rippled, a slow lifting of the permafrost like a sleeping giant inhaling after centuries. Footage from a reindeer herder's dash cam captured the moment the land buckled. Snow rising in a dome, ice expanding outward in concentric rings, and then a roar. Deep, resonant. Not an animal, not the earth, a sound like the breath of something colossal, centuries old, rediscovering the world. The Keeper, the second vessel, awakening. The cracked seal. When the ice finally shattered, it did so violently, exploding upward in a pillar of white shards and steam that reached 60 meters into the air. Underneath, the monastery's entrance was no longer sealed. It was gone. In its place lay a stairway spiraling down into darkness, carved in impossible precision, as though the stone had melted and then been sculpted by a single enormous hand. At the top of the stairway sat an object, the missing vessel, the twin to the Roman chest. But unlike the one in Vatican City, this one had already transformed. Its metal casing had peeled open like a flower of rusted thorns. Inside pulsed a long obsidian curve, like a rib from some colossal creature, etched with thousands of Etruscan-like symbols radiating red light. A light that beat, that breathed, that whispered. A drone that flew near recorded a fragment of sound before its system fried. Return, the memory, the vanishing soldiers. What happened to the Vatican expedition inside the monastery remained unclear until the fourth leaked file surfaced, a helmet camera. Recovered from 20 meters down the stairway, half fused into the ice. The footage was short, corrupted, but enough to reveal the fate of the soldiers. They descended. They reached a chamber of pillars, each carved with human faces trapped in expressions of horror. They approached the vessel. Then the room shifted. Walls moved like lungs, stone contracted, and something large, unseen, brushed past the camera. The last frame showed a glimpse of a long black silhouette writhing behind the vessel, like a shadow learning how to stand. The audio ended with a voice trembling, whispering, "It's not an object, it's a part." The thing under the ice moves. By morning, fishermen out at sea reported new sightings, the ice fields shifting, not drifting, moving against the wind. Entire slabs rotating in perfect circles, tides rising without gravity changes, thin fractures forming geometric patterns across the surface. One fisherman captured video of a crack opening in a straight, flawless line for nearly a kilometer and then closing again, as if the ocean itself were breathing. When asked what he thought it was, he said, "Like something under the ice was stretching its limbs." The light pillars. At 9:46 a.m., 6 pillars of red light erupted from the ground around the monastery site, shooting straight into the sky like vertical auroras. Scientists scrambled to explain. The Vatican stayed silent. But Matteo had written something about this in entry number 20, words now circulating online. When the northern one awakens, 6 sentinels shall rise. These are not guardians, but locks. Locks. And they were breaking, one by one. The scholar who knew too much. Dr. Helena Voss, the Viennese symbolist who studied the Vatican symbol earlier, went live on broadcast that afternoon, pale, shaking, exhausted. She revealed a discovery her team had made in restricted archaeological documents. Veii had not fallen in war. Its people had not been slaughtered. They had disappeared in one night. No bodies, no remains, no survivors, just an empty city with a single message painted in ash. We returned what Rome would not. The broadcast cut abruptly after this revelation. Voss disappeared hours later.
the March of Shadows. As the sun dipped below the Arctic horizon, the monastery site erupted into motion. Not an explosion, not a collapse, movement. The ice cracked from within, and a massive form rose, outlined only by faint red veins pulsing beneath the surface. A shape as tall as a cathedral tower, long, coiled, segmented, breathing, but not emerging fully, only shifting beneath the frozen ground as if preparing to travel. A journalist watching from a helicopter whispered, "It's heading south, towards Europe, towards Rome, towards the first vessel." The last northern signal. Minutes before communications failed across the Arctic once more, a final transmission was received from an automated seismic probe. Synchronization complete. Then another, seconds later, the Keeper walks. And the final haunting line, Rome will remember. The Arctic went silent, the ice stopped moving, and the second vessel, the living half of the ancient force, began its journey home.
The night Rome lost its electricity, the Vatican did not. Lights still glowed behind ancient stone, as if the world's oldest fortress were refusing to acknowledge the darkness spreading outside its walls. Inside, beneath the Apostolic Palace, Luca and Dr. Helena Marcos entered a chamber the Archivum classified only as Additum 23, a room so restricted that even its own index referred to it with a forged location. The air was cold, unnaturally so. The lights flickered with an amber hue, bouncing off walls covered not in paintings, but in genealogical diagrams, trees of names carved into stone, branching like veins frozen in marble. "This isn't theology," Helena whispered. "It's biology." At the center stood a pedestal with a codex sealed under glass. A plaque read simply, "Liber Sanguinis," the Book of Blood. Luca's voice nearly failed him. "This is what they tried to erase?" Helena brushed away the dust on the glass. Beneath it lay a manuscript illuminated with gold leaf and dark crimson lines. Lines that looked like ink at first, but the closer Luca leaned, the more they resembled samples pressed between pages like tissue slides. "What am I looking at?" he asked. Helena exhaled, dread overtaking her curiosity. I think this is a genetic record, one stretching back thousands of years. Look here." She pointed to a branching diagram labeled Genus Augustus, and here, Genus Flavius, Genus Constantinus, Roman imperial bloodlines. But the branches did not stop in the 5th century. They continued, past the fall of Rome, past the Middle Ages, past the Renaissance, threading all the way into modern surnames. Some were faded, some were blurred intentionally, and some were scraped off entirely. "What does this mean?" Luca asked. Helena answered not with words, but with another discovery. On the final page, under an embossed Vatican seal, was a symbol neither had ever seen before, a double-headed eagle with a cross growing from its spine, flanked by the Latin phrase, "Non imperium cadit," the empire does not fall. Below lay a list of dates, some ancient, some from the 1900s, and the last one, chillingly recent. 2024, Activatio Iniziata. Activation initiated. Helena stepped back. "Luca, this isn't just a record of who descended from Rome. This is a program, a project. To do what?" "To rebuild the empire," she said, "biologically." Before Luca could respond, a metallic click echoed through the chamber, the unmistakable sound of a heavy bolt sliding shut. The door behind them had locked.
a voice emerged from the intercom above, monotone and cold. Archivist Luca Moretti, Dr. Helena Marcos, you were never authorized to see the Liber Sanguinis. Remain where you are. You will be escorted. Helena's pulse thundered. Luca, they tracked us. But Luca wasn't listening anymore. His eyes were fixed on the final branch in the genealogy, one that had been violently scratched out but still faintly readable under angled light. The 3 letters that remained made his blood freeze. More. His own surname. Helena whispered, horror growing. You're part of it. Luca did not move. Outside the vault, footsteps approached, slow, deliberate, armored. Not guards. Custodes Sanguinis, the Blood Keepers. And they were coming for him.
The chamber lights dimmed as the footsteps outside multiplied, boots striking stone in a synchronized rhythm. Helena grabbed Luca's arm. We need another exit. There isn't one, Luca whispered. These vaults have only a single access point. Helena scanned the walls, her eyes darting desperately for anything. A crack, a seam, a panel. The carvings of Roman bloodlines seemed to stare back at her, thousands of generations, observing, judging. Then she noticed it, a symbol, partially obscured by dust, a keyhole carved into the central genealogical tree, hidden within the branch of the Julio-Claudians. Luca, she breathed, does the archivist's ring open this? He stared down at the golden ring he had inherited from his predecessor, a ring he had never once used. The pounding on the door grew louder. Bam, bam, bam. Open this chamber immediately, a voice commanded. The same monotone from the intercom, now deeper, closer. Luca stepped to the wall and raised his hand. The ring fit perfectly. A low mechanical groan echoed through the room as the stone slid aside, revealing a narrow staircase spiraling into darkness. Helena didn't hesitate. She grabbed Luca and pulled him inside. The stone panel sealed behind them just as the main vault door blasted open. Darkness swallowed them. Only the faint glow from Luca's emergency archive lamp illuminated the descent. They spiraled downward for what felt like minutes, each step colder than the last. Finally, they reached the bottom. The staircase opened into a vast circular hall. Helena gasped. This is impossible. Lining the walls were towering metal cabinets, ancient but intact, each embossed with dates and Latin titles. But what stunned her were the objects in the center of the room. 7 pedestals, each holding a key unlike anything she had ever seen. Not keys for doors. They resembled mechanical puzzles, interlocking gears, etched symbols, crystalline cores. Each bore the emblem of a different Roman dynasty. Luca lifted one, its weight dense and unnaturally warm. This chamber, he said slowly, isn't a vault, it's a control room. For what? Helena asked. A metallic chirp answered the question. A projector embedded in the ceiling flickered the life, displaying a rotating model of a human brain, overlaid with geometric patterns and ancient sigils. Beneath it appeared words that chilled them both. Claves Imperii, Keys of the Empire, Neurogenetic Activation Protocol. Helena's voice cracked. My God, they didn't just map Roman bloodlines, they engineered them. The hologram shifted, projecting data profiles, gene expressions, neural pathways, behavioral triggers, all linked to those born with certain hereditary markers. One of the markers glowed red. Helena swallowed hard. Luca, that's your sequence. Before Luca could answer, another voice cut through the chamber. This time, it wasn't monotone. It was warm, regretful, sorrowful. Luca, it said, I feared this day would come. A figure stepped from the shadows, hooded, robed in deep crimson. Luca's breath caught. Father Antonius?
one of the Vatican's most revered theologians. But his robes bore an insignia Luca had never seen before, a double-headed eagle with a cross grown from its spine, the same symbol from the Liber Sanguinis. Helena stepped in front of Luca. "What is this place? What are these keys?" Antonius lowered his hood. "The truth," he said quietly. "The one the church was built not to reveal, but to contain." He approached the pedestals, resting his hand on the largest key. "These are not tools. They are fail-safes, devices meant to awaken abilities dormant in those of imperial descent." Luca felt his pulse thundering in his ears. "Abilities?" Antonius nodded. "Influence, charisma, leadership, the traits that built an empire, perfected into something far more potent, traits your bloodline carries." Helena stepped back, horrified. "You're telling me Rome engineered a way to manufacture emperors?" "Not manufacture," Antonius corrected. "Restore when the world was ready." "And now?" Luca asked, voice cracking. Antonius answered with heartbreaking calm. "Now the world is ready." The chamber trembled as alarms echoed from above. The bloodkeepers had found the hidden passage. Helena pulled Luca's hand. "Luca, we have to go." But Antonius raised a hand, not threatening, pleading. "You can run, or you can learn who you truly are." Luca stared at the keys, 7 instruments of ancient power, and felt the weight of history he never asked for, tightening around him like chains. From above, stone shattered. The bloodkeepers were descending, and Luca had seconds to choose the path that would define not only his fate, but the fate of the world.